Well, the great Chuck D of Public Enemy actually went on Twitter recently and he called for the ban of the N-word on Twitter. Agree or disagree?
I have to say I disagree because that falls under free speech. And the moment we start trying to censor speech, then where do we draw the line? Because then that means comedically, I can't say what I want to say.
On Twitter, not in real life, on this particular platform.
Oh, just on that particular...
not in society. You're never going to be able to pull that off. But you know what I'm saying? In terms of on this particular platform, on Twitter, which, listen, at the end of the day, Kanye's banned right now for putting a swastika, into one of his tweets. It was like a swastika inside of a Jewish star. There's a swastika there. He's now banned off Twitter again for I don't know how long.
Right.
If you put, very degrading pictures of, stereotypical racist type things, they will ban your account. Like people have tweeted me some real foul shit. I reported the tweet and then I get an email saying that this person's account has been suspended. You know what I mean?
Right.
I do that every so often when I just feel it's a little extreme. So do you feel that the N-word, because right now, if it is allowed, it's not that only black people can say it, right? Any race could use the N-word on Twitter and it could generally be okay. So should you just ban it all across the board?
I think that's a slippery slope, man.
It is. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah,
because you use it in your own speech.
I use it in my stand-up.
Yeah.
Remember
at one point, Richard Pryor stopped using it. Remember there was that whole thing, he went to Africa?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That whole thing where it was like...
On his live on a Sunset Strip.
Yeah. He said, I saw all these beautiful black professional people. And from
see
that day on...
Why? Because there aren't any. Yeah.
And from that point on, he said he stopped using that word. And this is the guy that...
I don't know if
he was the biggest comic of his day. You know what I'm saying?
If he was this funny after that.
That's interesting.
Richard was the streets. Richard was a realness, a rawness. And in being that, when used correctly, word is powerful, man. And it makes a point. And certain points have to be made with certain words. I always said there's an art to cursing. Richard Pryor, when he cursed, Eddie Murphy, when he cursed, Dave Chappelle, when he curses, Chris Rock, when he curses, and they say the word nigga, I don't hear that word that way. I don't hear the curses that way. To me, it's part of a poetry versus, and I say this with all due respect, I love Monique. But when Monique curses, I hear the curses. That motherfucker, baby. And that motherfucker, fuck that motherfucker, baby. I'm not saying Monique's not funny. Monique is a beast. I love Monique. She's one of the queens. But to me, I don't feel poetry when she curses. I hear curses. I hear effect. When Richard did the joke about The Exorcist, take the cross out your pussy. That, to me, I didn't hear a curse. I didn't hear pussy like that. I heard an inflection and a rhythm that Richard knows how to make that comedic music. Eddie knows how to make comedic music. When Dave Chappelle was on SNL, and like I said, he goes, Kanye West said, I can say anti-Semitic things and they won't drop me. Pause. They dropped that nigga immediately. That didn't feel like
cursing, yeah.
Yes. There's an art to that shit.
I feel you, but the word itself is a slippery slope.
Of course it is. It's the most dangerous word in the human language.
I remember I interviewed, who was it? Was it G Herbo back in the day? And, he uses that word a lot in his songs. And I said, when you perform at concerts, and a lot of times it's mostly white fans, do you have a problem with them singing along? He's like, no, not at all. Not at all. But some people would be offended.
Let me tell you something.
A white fan rapping along to Future.
Right. Back in the 80s, early 90s, there used to be a black female comedian named Phyllis Yvonne Stickney. It's either Stickney or Stickley. She was in the movie New Jack City as the prosecuting attorney during the court scene with Wesley Snipes, aka Nino Brown. I forget what talk show she was on, but when talking about the atrocities of the Holocaust versus slavery, she basically ended her rant with the Holocaust was on film. Our suffering and our atrocity was not on film.
Yeah.
Cut to, I sent out a post where Bill Duke, the director, was talking about a book. If you could pull that up for me, something about Sanctuary. It's a book that contains photos of lynchings.
This is whose book?
That's not Bill Duke's book. I posted it on my post, Instagram.
It was my interview.
Oh, was that your interview?
You said drums in
Something
the background?
Sanctuary? The name of the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
But did you notice the drum set in the background?
I didn't.
It's in the same
I
room.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Shout out to Bill
he's
Duke.
talking about this book that has photographs of lynchings. And in the interview, he goes on to explain.
It's called Without Sanctuary, the History of Lynching in the USA.
Okay. He said, it wasn't just men, it was women, it was children.
Yeah.
There used to be a time where, I forget the exact term, where certain parts of this country would throw black babies into alligator pits to be eaten by alligators.
Yeah.
So, that word comes with such a fucking horrific, murderous, bloody history that I understand why, Chuck D would say that.
And Chuck has used that word in some of his songs before. Not profusely,
Right.
like other rappers, during
Right.
his era, but every so often he would drop that word.
When you get into race arguments with people on social media, one of the points that a lot of non-black people like to make is that everybody suffered. Everybody's going through shit. Okay, I'm fine. Everybody has. But black people are the Babe Ruth of suffering. We're the Babe Ruth of fucked up shit. Babies thrown in the alligator pits. What kind of evil is that you would want to throw a baby to an alligator?